Hi everybody, this video is going to go over a few basics that you'll need to know for doing research in any of my art history classes. The first thing I want to go over with you is how to choose reputable sources. This is something a lot of students struggle with. So I have a few guidelines. First of all, make sure your source lists an author. So when you find an article online, make sure that they say who the author is. The exception to this is museum websites. Museum websites are often excellent, but they don't tend to list an author. It's usually a whole department writing the article together. So that's the exception. If you're not sure if your article is okay, even if it has no author, just email it to me and I'll let you know if it's all right or not. Secondly, your source should be published by an outlet that has editors. So you want to make sure it's a magazine or newspaper or some kind of a system where somebody is looking it over besides the person who wrote it. So not just a personal blog, Wikipedia. You want to avoid those kinds of things where there's no editorial system in place. And then lastly, the school library is going to be a great way for you to find reputable sources. The school library has lots of online sources. You really don't even have to go to the library at all. You can find everything you need from home. And that's a place that you probably want to start with your research. Not every single topic, but almost everything you'll be researching for my class. You could probably do all the research online in the school library. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to be quick about it, but here's the basics. So to do research on the school library website, go to the Mesa site. So it's just, just Google San Diego Mesa College. And then here it is. Go to where it says library. Here's the library page. Then look for where it says Super Search. In Super Search, put in whatever it is you're researching. So let's say Impressionism is an art movement that you're doing a paper on. Then hit search. If it's the first time you're using it that day, it's going to ask you for your ID number and your last name. You don't have to go to Mesa for that. As long as you're in the system, you registered for the class, even if you go to City or something, it's still going to work for you. So here we put in Impressionism and searched it. You see there's 13,000 sources, which is a lot. Go where it says limit to and hit full text online. Once you hit that, it's going to change this so that it only shows us online sources. Now you can see there's more than 10,000 online books on Impressionism, all kinds of specific articles. You can go through them or you can search more narrowly by limiting it in different ways. If you find that you want to look at a specific artist, let's say Monet, we can add him to the search and it'll make it an even smaller search result. All of these sources here, you can just open them on your computer. So for example, Monet and the Birth of Impressionism, that sounds great. Click PDF and it's just going to open as an article. Then you can save it to your computer and read it off your screen or you can print it out. This is a great way to do research for the class without ever having to leave your living room. I know especially my online students love that. All those rules I told you about using reputable sources, you don't need to worry about those if you use the school library site. The school library site is kind of guaranteed reputable because the library already evaluated all of those sources. So if you go with that site, you don't need to worry about making sure it has editors and so on. Okay, so that's how you do that. The other thing that you're going to have to do in my class is document your sources. Whenever you document your sources, that means you're going to put a bibliography at the end of your papers, and you'll also document your sources in text. The format you should use is MLA. That just means like how you arrange the source, the order that you put the name in and where the commas go and so on. It's just a kind of accepted academic format for documenting your sources. I'm not going to go through all the details here because it's easy for you to look up. On your class website, on their Blackboard site, I have a PDF called Research Tips, something like that. It looks just like, here it is, Research and Bibliography Tips. If you go here, it's going to give you on page 2, 3, and 4 specific instructions and examples for how to do bibliographies and in-text citations. So just go here and it'll show you exactly how to do it. It's not super hard. It'll give you examples that you can even just copy. This is going to be helpful for you for your other classes too, because all of your classes will make you document your sources. Okay, so document your sources, find reputable sources. The last thing I wanted to mention is that for my classes, specifically for contemporary art, for Art 100, the intro class, and for the Women in Art class, you're going to be doing a project where you have to do research summaries. Sometimes I call them research reviews. Sometimes I call them research summaries. They're the same thing. Those are for your adopted artist project. So, you adopted your artist and then I asked you to do research summaries. What that means is that you need to read an article or a book about your artist or about a topic related to your artist, and then you compose a research summary that includes these elements. I'm going to show you a student example. So it'll first have your source citation. So this student read this article from the Tampa Bay Times about his artist, and here is the citation in MLA form. Then you write a summary where you say what are the main points of the article, basically show me that you read it and what's important about it. And then you have a little section, usually about a paragraph like this, of how it relates to your project. So if you're writing a paper for your final project, then you would write about how this article fits into your paper. If you're making an artwork for your final project, you'll write about what you learned about the artist here that might help you. When you first start your research, you won't really know too much about how it relates to your project, so this might just be a sentence long. But by the time you're doing your third research summary, you'll probably have a whole paragraph because you already know what your project is. You'll be doing either 3 or 4 of these research summaries, depending on what class you have with me. For each one, it's about a different source. So you're not combining sources in these. You just take one source, an article or book, and then you write your summary about it in this format. Then when you have the next one, it's a completely different article or book, and you write your summary. The reason I have you do that is when you get to your final project, then you've already got half your research done. You already have several summaries, you've written down the main points, and you can just use those in your paper. And it helps keep people from procrastinating, and it also just helps make your research more efficient. So I think that's it. Let me just check and make sure I didn't want to tell you anything else. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Yeah, I think that's it. So now you know the basics of how to do research for this class. And if you ever have any questions, make sure to just email me and ask. I'm always available. Okay, thanks.